Take your seat. Honourable members, I now put the question, which is that taking into consideration the findings of the Joint Committee of the National Assembly Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Affairs and the Senate Standing Committee on National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations in its report on the vetting of Mr. Douglas Kanja Kirocho for approval as the Inspector General of the National Police Service, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 17th September 2024, and pursuant to the provisions of Article 245(2)(a) of the Constitution and Section 12(1) of the National Police Service Act, Cap 84, and Section 8 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act, Cap 7F, this House approves the appointment of Mr. Douglas Kanja Kirocho as the Inspector General of the National Police Service. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? No. The ayes have it. Honourable members, we'll go back to order number 7, where today we have the Minister for Education in the House, Mr. Ogamba. So CS, it's now your opportunity to respond to issues that you must be fully familiar with. This House held a Kamkunji on Tuesday, 20th August 2024, and matters that arose from there required and necessitated the House to invite you to come and speak to the issues as listed out on the order paper which you are familiar with. I now give you the opportunity. Thereafter, members will have an opportunity to ask you questions both on the statement you are going to give and any other matters within your jurisdiction in the Ministry of Education. You may take the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, honorable members. Mr. Speaker, may I take this opportunity before I start to introduce the team that I'm accompanied with for purposes of record. I'm accompanied by the PS TVET in the Ministry of Education, Dr. Esther Moria, the PS Basic Education, Dr. Belio Kipsang, the PS Higher Education, Madam Beatrice Inyangala. I'm also accompanied by Professor Daniel Mugendi, the chair of all VCs, the vice chancellors of the universities in Kenya, public universities, and the CEO of the University Fund, Geoffrey Monari, together with my technical advisor, Joshua Wabwire. Mr. Speaker, may I take this opportunity to first and foremost thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak in this August House, specifically about the student-centered funding model, which is new in this country, and any other issues that relate to that model and in the education sector. Mr. Speaker, I also thank you for the Kamkunji you hosted on the 20th of August 2024, together with other honorable members that arose out of the concerns surrounding the new funding model. Mr. Speaker, we benefited from you and from the members' concerns and perspectives, and we have since taken action towards the proper rolling out of the model in a seamless and sensitive to the stakeholders' concerns. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for favoring us with a copy of the answered, which indicated or stipulated the issues that were of concern. Mr. Speaker, I wish to indicate that a day after the Kamkunji on the 21st of August 2024, we did implement your directive and requested all the vice chancellors in the country, in the public universities, to admit all the university students who had applied and admitted to those universities without paying their household contribution, as we sorted out the issues that were surrounding the funding model. Mr. Speaker, a total of 124,364 students out of the 538 students that were placed have since reported to their respective universities. Mr. Speaker, I'm happy to note that the number of students who have since paid their household contribution out of the 124 plus students are 75,000, which is almost above 60%. Mr. Speaker, the first question that we need to address, or we are requested to respond to, relates to us expounding on the application of the funding model for public universities and TVETs, including the criteria for ensuring that the analysis and categorization of beneficiaries into the 5 bands does not disadvantage the very needy students that it is supposed to support. Mr. Speaker, and as honorable members are aware, the student-centered funding model was launched by His Excellency the President in May 2023. It was first applied in the 2023-2024 academic year, and it is now in its second year of implementation. Mr. Speaker, the model was introduced on the recommendation of the Presidential Working Party on education reform that was set up and that concluded its report last year. The model is designed, Mr. Speaker, to provide funding to students based on their level of need. This was targeted at achieving equity and inclusivity to enhance access to higher education regardless of one's socioeconomic background. Mr. Speaker, once a student is placed to a university by the Kenya University Central Placement Service, they lodge an application for funding through the Higher Education Portal. Students placed in public universities can apply for both scholarships and loans, and students placed on private universities are eligible only for loans. The student-centered model, Mr. Speaker, has 5 bands, and these are set out based on the household income groups and the level of need. The household income groups represent broad household weighted income brackets that are as follows. Band number 1 is the group whose household income is below 5,995 shillings per month. Band number 2 falls on households whose income per month is between 5,995 and 70,000 shillings. Band number 23,000, the second band 2, is between 5,995 to 23,670. Band 3 is from 23,671 to 70,000. Band 4, 70,001 to 119,999. And band 5, households whose income is above 120,000. Mr. Speaker, based on the 5 bands, there is also affirmative action that is considered during the banding. Now, under table number 1 that I have here and to which I forwarded a letter to you, scholarship university bands on table number 1, band 1, the amount of scholarship is 70%, the loan is 25%, and the household contribution is 5%. So I'll just, so that I save time, I'll just read the household contribution for band number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Band number 1 contributes 5%, band number 2 contributes 10%, band number 3 contributes 20%, band number 4 contributes 30%, and band number 5 contributes 40%. The rest is contributed by the government. On the scholarships, band number 1 gets 70%, band number 2 gets 60% for TVETs, band number 3 gets 50%, band number 4 gets 40%, and band number 5 gets 50%. To determine, Mr. Speaker, the student's level of need, in order to give the categorization, there was use of a product called the means testing instrument. Now, the means testing instrument was designed to utilize data provided by students to determine their level of need. The data was then validated through other government agencies and systems. The application system is integrated in other government databases that include the Universities and College Central Placement Service, the Integrated Population Registration System, the National Education Management Information System, NEMIS, the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, the Higher Education Loans Board, the Registrar of Births and Deaths, the National Social Protection Scheme, National Council of Persons with Disabilities, and the Kenya Revenue Authority. This integration helped to validate the information provided by various students in order to ensure that they are banded in the right band. This targeted approach, Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, ensures that students who face the most significant financial challenges receive the greatest support to complete their education. Madam Speaker, since the rollout of the student-centered funding model, there have been improvements carried out to ensure that it accurately determines the student's level of need and that no needy student is disadvantaged. The improvements have been formed by engagement with stakeholders, including honorable members of parliament through that Kamkunji. On account of these engagements, for example, Madam Speaker, the means testing instrument has been enhanced to capture broader socioeconomic factors and therefore improve the accuracy of the categorization. These extra additional socioeconomic factors include the number of children in primary and secondary school in a household. They also include the parents' highest educational level. It also includes the agricultural priority programs, and I'll come to explain that a little bit later. It includes areas where, for example, parents are known. So the categorization has been expanded in order to ensure that as we categorize the students into bands, the outcome places them as close as possible to their realities. These improvements, Mr. Speaker, have seen a change in categorization across the various bands, even as students also have been sensitized to provide more accurate information that are detailed. A comparison of their categorization between the year 2023, 2024, and the 2024-2025 has actually confirmed from the figures that the Band 1, Band 2, and Band 3 have more students this year than they had the last year. And Band 5 and Band 4 and 5 have lesser students than they had last year. So it has tilted because of the improvement of the categorization. The other mechanisms that have also been placed in place ensure that the very needy students are not disadvantaged is the appeals mechanism. We came up with an appeals mechanism that allows students to get into the appeals portal, and if their circumstances have changed, they would put in the new information and they would then be recategorized. This is because we acknowledge that financial circumstances of students and parents do change, and therefore once they change, the student banding also changes. For example, if a parent has lost a job, the student would go into the portal and indicate that although my father or mother was working last year, they are not working this year and I do not have the income we had last year, so it has shifted and therefore their circumstances have changed. We have also noted and acknowledged that internet access and connectivity has various disadvantages to various students, and students who come from poor backgrounds may not have access to the internet. To cure this, we have set up desks in each and every university from the university funding team so that the students can be assisted to put in their data in the universities where they've been admitted to, so that they are not disadvantaged. Mr. Speaker, the second question requires us to set measures that were put in place to simplify the model and enlighten the general public about it. As you rightly noted during the Kamkunji, the public was not well informed about the student-centered funding model, and we agreed with you that we need to put more energy in communication to the public. In this regard, Mr. Speaker, we've taken a number of measures, and firstly, we've noted the salient concern that has been raised by stakeholders, especially the students themselves, on their involvement in decision-making around the funding model. In this regard, His Excellency the President has constituted the National Working Committee on Review of the new University Education Funding Model to refine the funding model in order to optimize its functioning. The Gazette notice has been released and it is attached, and this is part of the broader effort to ensure that stakeholders understand the model and they contribute to enhancing it. The other measures that we've taken, Mr. Speaker, include public sensitization. We've rolled out a number of public sensitization campaigns across the country through the radio, the print media, public forums, etc., etc. We have also gone into digital resource for easy access, where, as a ministry, we have invested in digital resources to simplify access through the funding model that is in the portal. We have also done stakeholder engagement and collaboration. We've rolled out YouTube demonstrations and social media campaigns where demonstrations are given step by step on how to apply for scholarships and to apply for loans under this funding model. We've also done social media campaigns through Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, including short video clips showing answers to the frequently asked questions. Mr. Speaker, we have also included a simplification application process through automation, where we've stipulated the various steps on how an applicant can check their eligibility and submit their documents online. We have also created, Mr. Speaker, helplines where we have continuous feedback so that we can respond to them. They are on 24/7 basis so that we can be able to respond to the challenges or the questions and concerns that the students have. We have done regional outreach both on sites and off sites through Huduma centers and other support systems. We've done timely updates and transparent disbursements of the amounts that are due to the students. And Mr. Speaker, we will continue to engage the public